Okay, so imagine a civilization so incredibly advanced it went toe-to-toe with ancient Egypt, but it was so mysterious that it was completely lost to history for thousands of years. Today, we're kicking off our journey into the story of India by uncovering the secrets of the Indus Valley. And let me tell you, this discovery didn't just rewrite a chapter of history, it pretty much tore up the entire book.
This one sentence right here, it just nails it. This idea was absolutely revolutionary. When this civilization was unearthed about a century ago, it caused this huge seismic shift in how we understood the ancient world. It proved that the grand story we all thought we knew had a massive, and I mean massive, missing chapter. But to really get our heads around the sheer impact of what was found, we first have to talk about the story everyone believed was true. We have to understand the powerful myth that this discovery completely shattered. Yeah, for a long time, there was this colonial-era narrative, this idea of the so-called white man's burden. It was basically a self-serving myth that painted India as this backward land that was, desperately in need of Western civilizing. It was a story designed to justify rule, to justify exploitation, and, most importantly, to erase a rich and incredibly complex history.
But then, the dusty plains of the Indus Valley started to speak. And what they revealed? Well, it wasn't just a challenge to that colonial myth. It was a full-throated rebuttal. It was this incredible testament to a civilization of absolutely breathtaking sophistication that had existed thousands of years earlier.
Now, this whole rediscovery, it wasn't some single eureka moment. Not at all. It was more like a slow-burn detective story, a giant puzzle that was pieced together from clues scattered across modern-day India and Pakistan, and it took nearly 100 years to do it. The story here is just a slow-motion revelation. It all starts with a whisper, way back in 1842, when a lone British soldier just stumbles upon these mysterious ruins. Then, basically radio silence for 80 years. Finally, in the 1920s, Indian archaeologists like Dairam Sani and R.D. Banerji started to connect the dots, unearthing not just one, but two magnificent cities. And get this, the story is still being written. Discoveries as recent as 2014 are still expanding the known scale of this incredible civilization.
And here's the real kicker. This wasn't some isolated little city-state. No way. This was a sprawling Bronze Age civilization, covering an area larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. It was a true contemporary of those great empires, but with a character that was all its own.
So if this civilization was so huge and so sophisticated, what did it actually look like, on the ground? Well, the answer is in the ruins of their cities, and they reveal a society that was kind of obsessed with order, precision, and the well-being of its citizens.
This city blueprint just shows you how genius they were at urban planning. You've got this fortified citadel up high, probably for priests or rulers, looking over a sprawling lower town for everybody else. And the whole thing is laid out on a precise grid. This level of meticulous, centralized organization was just virtually unheard of 4,500 years ago. I want you to just imagine this. A massive, watertight pool, gleaming under the ancient sun. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, it wasn't just some amazing feat of engineering. It was probably the very heart of the city's social and spiritual life. You can just picture it as a place for communal gatherings and maybe even religious rituals. And this is where the Harappans were truly mind-blowingly ahead of their time. They built this complex network of covered drains, an advanced sanitation system that you wouldn't see again in many parts of the world for millennia. This wasn't just about convenience, it was about public health, a concept that was absolutely revolutionary for its time. All right, so from the grand scale of their cities, let's zoom in a little bit on the people who actually live there. We can't hear their voices, sadly, but we can catch glimpses of them through the stunningly sophisticated art they left behind. So let's meet the Priest King. It's a small but incredibly powerful statue carved from a type of soft soapstone. Just look at that serene expression, the focused gaze, the intricate little details on his robe. This isn't some generic figure. This is a portrait of a leader, a person of immense status and quiet authority. And then there's this absolute masterpiece in bronze, the Dancing Girl. She was made using the lost wax method, which is a really complex casting process, and she's frozen in this moment of confident, carefree movement. Her posture, her attitude, it just speaks volumes about a culture that celebrated art, dance, and maybe even had a different role for women than other ancient societies. This tiny little seal offers such a tantalizing glimpse into their spiritual world. You see this figure, sitting in a yogic pose, surrounded by animals. Could this be an early depiction of the Hindu god Shiva in his form as Lord of the Beasts? We can't be sure, of course, but it suggests that some of India's most profound spiritual traditions might have roots stretching all the way back to the very dawn of its civilization.
And it wasn't just their art that was impressive. It was their organization. Across a civilization spanning hundreds and hundreds of miles, they used standardized weights and measures, kind of like a Bronze Age version of the metric system. This points to a highly integrated society, one that was built on long-distance trade, communication, and a shared set of rules for everybody.
And yet, for all the incredible cities we've unearthed and all the amazing artifacts we've analyzed, the Indus Valley Civilization has left us with some of the greatest mysteries in all of ancient history.
Sometime around 1500 BC, the vibrant pulse of this great civilization just began to fade. The great cities fell silent, all that meticulous order gave way to decay, and eventually the entire civilization was just swallowed by the earth, its memory completely lost for over 3,000 years.
So, what happened? What was the cataclysm that brought this incredible civilization to its knees? Was it the slow, creeping death of climate change, a sudden violent invasion, or maybe a silent, invisible plague? The truth is, we just don't know for sure, and the debate among historians is still raging.
And that, my friends, brings us to the ultimate mystery, their language. We have thousands of artifacts covered in this beautiful, complex script, but to this day, it remains undeciphered. The Harappans are a people without a voice. Their stories are locked away in a code we simply can't crack. What secrets, what triumphs, or maybe what warnings might they have for us if only we could understand their words? Join us next time as our story of India continues when we explore what rose from the ashes of the Indus Valley.